Hello and good morning, Gary Champion, Psychic Medium. A few observations this morning. My wife and I were in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I guess there isn't any other Minneapolis. And we were at a expo and we gave our little class. We did some mediumship work. We read a lot of people. And when you're in a building full of metaphysical people, they're attracted to these fairs for a reason. And I couldn't help noticing that one of the common denominators is that they see metaphysical things in everyday life. The average person gets up and he gets the newspaper or whatever, gets his cup of coffee, whatever, shower, shave, put on whatever they're going to go and go to work. And these people are different in that they wake up anticipating something. Every day brings unusual delights if you're metaphysical and not afraid. And sometimes the thing is, spirits don't hang around you that much if you're afraid. They don't want to trigger some kind of odd response in you. So if you begin to see a lot of shadows and quick moving things and apparitions and lights blinking and television coming off and on, all these things where they try and let you know they're there, chances are that you're not afraid of it, and they're trying to say hello. It's a little other side shout out. And in a reading, often they tell me their names, what they're there for, what the purpose is. And some people like what they have to say and some people don't, but spirits don't really we don't have any control over them. They say what they want to say. And I just pass it along. But they have tales to tell when they show up. You're just standing around in the aisle out there, it's slow or something, and people come by and they begin to share stories about, their father always used this particular cologne, smoked this particular cigarette or pipe or whatever. And often when they're alone, they smell those two items together and something else, some kind of a strange shaving bomb. One woman said that it was a unique smell because the cologne mixed with this, mixed with that, and the smell was unusual. This tobacco we smoked was a rare brand or something, and the smell of that, well, she gets that all the time. This means her father's around. So, and they never know when it's going to appear. You never know. Usually when you're in a low point or you need a little help, all of a sudden you smell this odd smell, you see this unusual thing. And often I say that really I'm not in control of my life at all. I throw out there things that I want, and the things they think I need, those are the things that come to me. The things that I just want, they don't show up too much because they're usually frivolous things. Now, wanting something for someone else, that's a pretty big deal. When you want someone else to be well or someone else to have this or have that, those things tend to show up all the time around here without me doing anything, just being myself and understanding that there's a flow to life and I'm within the flow. I'm not fighting it. If you fight it, then you usually end up with a bag full of sand, and I'm just in the big river, just floating along. And there was a woman in the class, and I said something to her. I read her, I actually pointed at her and said something about her, and it was true. I don't remember these readings, but in a meditative state in a class or in a reading, I don't remember any of this stuff. I can't. I'd be insane. In about a week, I wouldn't be able to function. But she came by later and explained that she had been struck by lightning, in some way. She had died, and she wasn't really struck by lightning, but it was as though she was struck by lightning. Her lungs collapsed, and she passed. And I think she said she passed 4 times. They kept bringing her back, and she's here. And nothing looks the same. Nothing sounds the same. Nothing appears. The colors are different. Life is interesting now. Life is, she is connected to the other side in a very, very strong way. She knows the future. And of course, a lot of things that, and this thing about when you connect to the other side, you tend to know a lot of things you shouldn't know. Or the average person will say you shouldn't know that, and yet you do know it. And how you choose to use it is up to you. You can help friends and neighbors or not. Choice is up to you. The other side doesn't make any judgment on this. They would prefer that you use it to further something for somebody else, but that it's not necessary. They don't really care. They'll help you in whatever endeavor you're trying to pursue. But her life has changed. Her family life is nothing there now. You can't connect. It's someone she's been married to for 38 years now. He's just not there. She can't connect with him. So, and I've heard this story so many times, where when you connect in an unusual way, either drug taking can do it, and I don't mean by illegal drugs, just a drug for sinus infection or a hormonal drug or anything like that can often trigger this change, and it's profound. Or you can be struck by lightning. You can have a near-death experience, and hers was a death, 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 death. So it changes you in profound ways. And I run across people who really want to do this for a living, and I'm pulling for them. And the only thing that really is holding them back is fear. I believe they have the ability. I can read them and know that they have what it takes to work in this business. It is a business. I know it sounds, people don't want you to say that, but everything's a business. You have to make a living. And if they start down the road of doing this, they're going to stop doing whatever they're doing that's paying the bills. But she had no fear, not at all. She seemed to understand it really, really well. And she's decided to go down this road. We were talking about it. I said, well, all these things you have to do. I gave her sort of a list of things to work on that would bring her down the road, because she has everything else. She has empathy. And often it's what you don't have that's just as important as what you have. If you got a can of beans, that's nice to have a can of beans. But if you don't have a can opener, you're not going to get any beans. So she has to have a mental can opener to attune herself to do this kind of work. But the lack of fear, that's a big plus. Having fear, you're never going to make it here. With that rhymed. It's not like me at all. And someone's saying, yes, it is. I'm just not aware of it. Interesting. So work on the fear factor if you want to do this for a living. But she was so calm and in the flow and understanding, and had decided that this is probably what she was going to do. And she had no fear. There are people who see and hear things all day long, but they have the fear. So you can be an observer. It's like looking out a window. You can look out the window, but you can't go through that window and actually participate. You're an observer. Without fear, it's an interactive life. Everything flows in front of you. It does everybody at some point or another, but the person who's aware is the one who takes advantage of it, and the one who's blocked or fears can't take advantage of it. They don't know how to incorporate that little bit of information in their life. But metaphysical people get up every morning anticipating something unusual, and often it just happens. And they're aware and awake, and therefore take advantage of it, Their lives are emotionally, physically, psychologically enhanced in a way that other people's aren't. And all this sort of occurred to me on the plane coming home last night. That that's the only difference between, you know, any two people. They're aware or they're not. And interestingly enough, I can read that. I can read that, and I could read that in the class. And I knew something about her, and apparently I told her, and it was a big deal. So people who are awake can read awakeness in other people. And pretty soon that's all they're hanging around is people who are like themselves. They can't be around angry people anymore. It changes their life profoundly. Often they have to lose friends, family members don't get it at all. Her children will side with their father over her. She's just being weird. You're just being weird, Mom. So they'll side with him, wanting normalcy. Well, you can kiss that goodbye. That's not going to happen. It's not a better life. It's just a different life. It's an easier life in many ways, but very much more difficult in other ways. The world, it's going to spit you back up if it can. But I wish her luck on her journey. She's just in the beginning part of it, but that's really the most exciting part. It's like any trip, getting in the car and going, anticipating it. That's the most important. I've got to go. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.